from Detroit, Michigan, this is the Honestly Sis podcast, newsletter edition. Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Whenever this podcast may find you, I hope that it finds you in great spirit. I am your host, Honest Am, back for another newsletter this week. But before we get into this newsletter, let's go ahead and just do a little bit of housekeeping. If you would like to support this show, please consider becoming a member of our Substack or our Patreon for just $5 a month. You can become the alchemist of your life and gain insight to to new moon channelings, to other musings, as well as TV reviews. If you're not able to help support financially, please consider supporting energetically by sharing this podcast to your favorite social media timeline. And if you just want to show me just a little bit of love and you wanted to share, but you still want to just let me know you love me, but you can't do that $5 commitment, you can go right on down in these show notes and send me a tip. Remember, this is an independently owned and operated space, so any type of contribution to help keep these things going, it would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so you know how the typical run of this show goes. I'll go ahead and give you the letter, then we'll do a deep dive on a topic or a subject that is discussed in the letter, and then I'll wrap it on up with where I am currently and what you can look forward to next week. So let's go ahead and get into this week's letter. This week's letter is entitled Head Rush. He liked to call me Peaches when we get this nasty. Beyonce Partition. Remember when people were losing their shit after Beyonce released Partition? People was legit mad because she talked about sucking her husband's dick. What do Black women have against giving head? Like, why do some front like they don't do it at all? For instance, remember that one episode of Insecure when the crew went to this explosion event? They were all headed to a blowjob, and Kelly, of all people, said she doesn't give head. And don't get me started on Jackie from Basketball Wives, or Amber Rose, or Kim Kardashian, or the Grand Dame, or any woman who has built her image on sex and then act prudish when the topic comes up. Still, I wasn't going to write about this subject until I read an article from the columnist Agatha Gulami. It's entitled Giving the Perfect Blowjob. That is when I decided I had to say something. Why? Because in so many words, the author said that girls were dumb for trying to perfect the skill of giving head. Then she proceeded to give some good advice, which was good, but the latter part bothered me. Why does it seem like some Black women feel like the minute you put a dick in your mouth, it makes you less than a woman? This thought process is mind-blowing to me because who doesn't want to give good head? Or is it just me? A while ago, I went through a period where I was slightly obsessed with perfecting my head game. Before you ask, no, I wasn't doing this for my boyfriend or because someone told me I gave him subpar head because fuck him. This was about me and my ego. Besides, I find the act of giving head to be empowering. But don't take this as a green light to go around sucking everybody's dick, because diseases are rampant and not everything is curable. However, for your man or your steady fuck buddy, why not? Giving good head is just another tool in your toolbox. Have you ever experienced a man squirming away from you because your head was just that damn good? Or feeling his nails digging into your shoulders? I have. And if you haven't, let me tell you now, it will give you a head rush. The head rush will not only put a smile on your face, but it will also make him want to perform for you. See, I'm a firm believer that nothing makes sex more fun than both people trying to get each other off. I personally pride myself on what I can bring in the bedroom, and honestly, sis, you should too. Not feeling this episode? Fine, I'll level with you. Maybe dick sucking is not your thing. I'm not here to convert anybody into a believer or to create shame for not sucking a dick. But all I am saying is, don't judge us for enjoying it. Anyways, for you girlies and young lads who want to improve their head skills and experience their own head rush, here are a few things that help me master the art of the blowjob. One, I watched porn. After reading the Video Vixen book and hearing the tales of Superhead, I was intrigued. I had to see for myself, and boy, was I amazed. After a few watches, I realized what the ultimate trick was. It wasn't her mouth, it was all in her hands. Instead of doing the typical jack off, she used both hands, and instead of simply going up and down, she added twists and turns to it. Thank me later. Her saliva, suction, and twisting and turning is what ultimately created Superhead. Mystery solved. If you use this move, it would not only make your guy go crazy, but it would give your jaws a break. Two, I practice. There is no way around it. To know if the move worked, I had to try it out on someone. Nothing will make a man happier than if you ask him to let you give him head. Since he will be jumping out of his boxers. Or you could just take control. He may love that even more. While you're busy making his day, you can use this time to practice the things you saw in porn. Win-win, right? Tip. If he asks, where did you learn this? Be honest. It could lead to you guys watching some porn together or making your own. Three, I explored and spoke openly about it. I have never had a problem talking about sex. In fact, I love talking about sex. In college, I was my go to expert for my friends. My love for sex led me to Zane novels, HBO Real Sex, and Angela Yee's Lip Service podcast. This is where I learned tips and tricks from other women. Sex and giving head is just like anything else in life. You don't know what you don't know. You can't be afraid to talk to your friends, older women, or even your hairdresser about it. In fact, it was my high school hairdresser turned college hairdresser, Stacy, who taught me all about the good old titty fuck. If you ever get tired of sucking and fucking, sis, it's a gem. But the ultimate key is staying open and listening up. You never know who could give you advice that will take your head game to the next level. I believe it was a Zane novel that introduced me to the Listerine trick. Tip: buy a cough drop or Listerine strip, put it in your mouth or on your tongue, then give him or her head. This is not to be a head manifesto or an article to create shame. I simply want us to be the masters of our bedrooms, to feel liberated and free to discuss all things sex related, including head, to be open to learning and practicing our craft. The mindset that you must be a hoe to enjoy sex or giving head is honestly childish. Besides, that mindset only creates inner conflict within ourselves in our bedroom. There is nothing wrong with sucking dick and enjoying it because the truth is that is the secret to a great blowjob. Do you have any tips or tricks? Do you have any tips or tricks to share? Send me an email at honestlysis@gmail.com or comment down below because you know I want to know. Prince music. I don't know why I'm like, now I'm acting on like Prince's. I'm like, I can't believe I wrote that. I wrote that. Yes, yeah. Okay, so that is our week's letter. It is called Head Rush, but I think I want to change the name to Masters of Our Bedroom. And it's just this article was birthed because of the whole partition movement and how people were really bothered that Beyonce was talking about fucking her own husband. All right, so let me just go back. We're going to be doing a deep dive all about the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra governs your sexuality, your creativity, and your procreation. Signs that your sacral balance may be out of balance is feeling unsafe, feeling creatively blocked or sexually blocked, an inability to connect emotionally or socially, feeling secretive or afraid of intimacy, having frequent nightmares or not remembering your dreams, fear of being judged and getting found out, and signs of a overactive sacral or a blocked one, or block one is detachment, isolation, anxiety, loneliness, a low libido, and a lack of creative inspiration. And so, if you are experiencing any of these things, it may be a sign that your sacral chakra is out of balance, or it may potentially be blocked. A sign of an overactive sacral chakra, which would mean you're super open, is feeling It's feeling consumed by your emotions or your dreams, experiencing emotional ups and downs, using escapism to avoid life, scared that your affection is not going to be returned, and engaging in inappropriate expressions of sexuality. And so that's really why I brought this up, because a lot of us, we look at sex and, maybe some of us may look at sex and we may be, happy, or we may like sex. But if you find yourself unable to connect with somebody emotionally, or you find that you just do not have a sex drive, it really could be an indicator that something is going on with your sacral chakra. And also, if you are having those kidney and those bladder issues, that also could be a sign that something is going on with your sacral chakra, and that you should really take that time to heal it so that you can heal yourself within. A quote that I found while doing some research, I'm actually just going to go to the article. That's the problem, y'all. Sometimes I cannot even read my own handwriting. While I'm going to that article, I wanted to pull up my Sacral Wisdom Oracle deck. This is a deck that I typically use whenever I'm doing a blockages reading, because again, it's another good tool to help us understand these help us understand the chakras. And so in here, it says your sacral chakra, you're learning how to observe your emotions. The overall expression is emotional. In the second chakra, you can learn emotional discipline if you choose. You need to master the skill of steering your emotions as you would a ship on the high seas. This is very important in manifesting. The orange cards reveal your emotional experience in a particular situation. If you are struggling with your feelings, look back to the red chakra, the root chakra, for the answer. Why? Because your emotional experience from a particular foundation or belief created in your root chakra is helps you to understand where your emotions are coming from. And so if when I was talking about that article of giving head, if it made you feel all uncomfortable, you go back to your root chakra or your foundation, and you can think, okay, in your childhood, how was sex addressed? Did your mom talk to you about sex? Was sex celebrated, or was it something that's shunned away? If it was something that was shunned away, it will let you know why, talking about sex or talking about being sexually liberated will make you uncomfortable. And then again, it could also be a sign of that blockage, of that, that sacral chakra being blocked. Last thing it says, next, observe your emotions rather than acting on them. And your angel can speak directly to you through your emotions revealed in these cards. However, you must stand fearlessly and observe your emotions. If you can do this, you begin the journey into manifestation. You can walk what you had previously only wished for. Master emotional discipline, and you can master how to manifest anything. And so we learned that not only is our sacral chakra attached to our sexuality, our creativity, our procreation, but it's also attached to our emotions. And so, again, if you're feeling detached or if you have a hard time dealing with your emotions, that is a really good sign that there's a blockages there and that you need to work on healing it. And so now we want to talk about ways that you can heal your sacral chakra. Of course, you can do meditation, do some sleep hypnosis tracks all about self love and self acceptance. You can do affirmations. I love pairing affirmations with yoga. Yoga is also something that they mention in here. In fact, in this book, they tell you some really good postures that you could do. And of course, all of the postures are basically set around your sacral and doing work around that. And so they told you to do a lotus pose. You can do the cat cow. I also want to say that you can also do the child pose or a deep squat. Again, it's about like letting the energy in this area breathe and become unstagnant. I told you about affirmations. I like using affirmations in yoga. And so it's like whenever you put your hand to your heart center, you will say your affirmation. So I am lovable. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of pleasure. And you would do that throughout your whole 30 to 60-minute practice. You can also use affirmations and sex magic. So even if you do not have a partner, say that you are, masturbating solo and you really want to work on improving your sacral chakra, improving your sexuality, owning your sexuality, as you're pleasuring yourself, you can say affirmations of, I am worthy of pleasure. I am worthy of receiving good things. It's okay for me to feel good. You keep doing that, and over time, you may, you'll heal your sacral chakra. Another way that you can heal it is through essential oils. You can supplement your diet. Another good way is to do reflection, which is kind of what I hit on a little bit when I was talking about my blockages deck. It's just about really paying attention to when you feel uncomfortable, when you feel detached, and then going back, journaling over that process to really try to get to the root of it. I was listening to two things. I was listening to Steve and Tanada Reeve. They did this Afrofuturism seminar about Octavia Butler. And in there, he talked about naming a problem is a part of solving a problem. And so that's why reflection is so important. If you could reflect, okay, since a kid, I never really liked, I always felt uncomfortable when it came to, my body or when it came to expressing myself emotionally. And then that could lead to why, as an adult, you don't want to explore it, or you get very clammed up, or you get really nervous when a topic comes up. It could be a stem for your childhood. And so, if you could work on that, now that you're aware of that, you could actively, now that you're aware, oh, this is just my childhood, this is just something I can overcome. As an adult, you can start working on ways to heal yourself, whether it's through, meditation, affirmation, or masturbating. It's totally up to you. Yeah, I have to like send articles to myself. And so this article, I'm gonna make sure I put all of these into our show notes, but I'll just go ahead and share my screen really quickly so you guys can see this. All right, and we're gonna share here. Bam. Okay. So this article was a really, really good article. Oh, and here it is. This is the quote that I was looking for. A closed sacral chakra can make you feel detached from your emotions as well as your emotions of people around you. You may feel isolated and anxious. To be alone and lonely is a vicious cycle that can cause loneliness as well as anxiety. And the reason why I brought this up is because when I was in college, I remember telling my friend, like I remember saying this out my mouth, like I would never live by myself. Like that just sounds horrible because the idea of being alone was terrifying to me. And now as an adult, I live by myself and I actually couldn't imagine living with somebody, So it really shows me how I went from, being one way and coming back to another way. Another thing that this doctor points out is when a sacral chakra is blocked, its energy can become stagnant and your ability to access the gifts associated with the sacral center becomes difficult. Its shadow aspects are active and dominating your life. And so if maybe as a kid you were super creative and you wrote a lot, but now you're unable to access that again, that could be a sign that your sacral chakra could be blocked. This article talks about all type of ways that you can heal yourself. This is definitely some things that I talked about: meditation, yoga, essential oils, stones and crystals. They have like some really good tips on doing some visualizations here as well. Popular poses: the camel pose, the bow, the bound angle pose, as well as the garland pose, which is AKA the child pose. Some affirmations they have is: I trust my feelings, I trust myself, I am safe to express my creativity, I allow my creativity to flow freely. Again, you can say this while you're doing your yoga stance, whenever you put your hands at heart center, or you can do this while you're masturbating. Some really good essential oils that you can use is sandalwood, pink pepper seed, jasmine oil. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, but I will make sure that I link this article down because it's such a good article that talks all about ways that you can heal yourself. Oh, and this is the other thing I did want to talk about is just food that they're saying that you can use to help heal your sacral chakra. You can do black cherry tomatoes, you can do peppers, peaches, apples, Mediterranean oranges, mango, oysters, Venus clams. I do feel like if you started to eat all of those type of orange foods, just eat with your eyes, that will also help. That will also help heal your sacral chakra. If you heal your sacral chakra, these are things that will happen. Your relationships will shift with people, with animals, with food, with spirituality, and with nature. You will start to develop a stronger intuition, equilibrium in your emotions, an increase in creativity, improve emotional health, and great sexual frequency. Okay. So if from this moment on you start listening, you listen to this podcast and you really decide, you know what, I'm going to work on my sacral chakra. I'm going to do my affirmations. I'm going to do my meditations. I'm going to start, supplementing my diet, maybe having some crystals. Oh, they do. I didn't get into the crystals. And you want to know if it start working. The best way to know if it is working is to pay attention to your dream state. I know you're like, what? But yeah, well, first of all, you can pay attention to your emotions. You can see, okay, am I feeling more creative? Am I feeling more emotionally balanced? Am I feeling more sexually liberated? That will really be a good sign that your sacral chakra is healing and starting to fall back into balance. But another way to know if it's happening, especially if you love dealing with dream work, is to pay attention to your dreams. And in this book, it says that the sacral chakra produce dreams in which water images appear. So if you have an image of a pool, a lake, a stream, a river, and seas, the quality of the water is indicative of the way in which the chakra is functioning. So if the water is stagnant, dirty, or foul, it may require some more inner cleansing. If it's a frozen water or ice in any state that reforms thawing out, images of bathing or washing are indicative that a cleansing process has commenced. So if you take a dream of bathing or washing, that means that it's working. Swimming indicates ease with the function of this chakra. Drowning indicates difficulties. Fountains or gushes of water indicate the sudden or unexpected awakening of this chakra, meaning with creatures or beings who are at home in the water and are willing to act as guides, indicate that the individual is integrating some aspects of this chakra. Dreams in which the moon plays a prominent part are also related to the chakra. So, traveling to the moon or exploring a lunar landscape indicates inner exploration at this level. And last thing that it says, another way to heal it is by doing sensual, listening to sensual music. You can do belly dances. All of that has the beautiful power to release all of those stagnant motions within our body. I'm done. Oh, I wish I could see my notes. I have so many notes about this, but I really believe that the key for us here is to pay attention. Are we feeling out of balance, or is our sacral chakra seeming blocked? So again, paying attention to if you are not feeling sexually charged, if you're not feeling creative, if you feel unsafe, if you can't remember your dreams, if you're having frequent nightmares. Again, that is all a sign that your sacral chakra is out of balance. And then if it is blocked, you're going to be feeling detachment, isolation, anxiety, loneliness, a low libido, and a lack of creative inspiration. So if any of those things are happening, I just implore you to definitely dive into those articles. You don't have to do every single thing. You don't have to do meditation, affirmation. You don't have to do all of those. You could just pick one thing. Say, I'm going to focus on meditating on self-love, or I'm going to focus on doing my yoga and my affirmations. And after a while, remember, you have to do it at least for 21 days. 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Our number is three. So our number is three. I did too. Our number is three. So do it for that period of time, and then just pay attention to your emotions, pay attention to your dreams. And if you do have a dream where you have that water, pay attention to the state of the water. Remember, if it is stagnant or if it is frozen, that means there's still some work to do. But if it is bathing, or if you're bathing, or if the water is just nicely flowing in, that means that the work that you have been doing is working and that your sacral chakra is allowed to be healed. Okay? All right. That is it for our deep dive. All right, y'all. So that's it for our this week's show. Our this week's show is all about This week's show is all about becoming the masters in our bedroom, because once you become the master in your bedroom, it is also an indicator that you are becoming the master of your sacral chakra. And our sacral chakra is so important because it is linked to our creativity, it is linked to our sexuality, it is linked to our emotions. And just like the guidance said, if we can master our emotions, we can manifest anything. And so if you want to become a master manifester, it's time for you to do some work on that sacral chakra. Now, if I'm going to be completely transparent, when I first read this article, I was a little embarrassed by it. I was just like, why the fuck did I read this article? And it was also it even got me to the point where I was going to skip it because I was just like, this is silly. But I remember a long time ago, I was listening to this interview with Nikki Giovanni. And Nikki Giovanni was talking about how she doesn't judge any of her poems. She was like, she remembers she wrote a poem about killing a spider and how it made her feel so bad that she wrote a poem about it. And then in that poem, it was time for her to publish her book. She posted it and she's like, she didn't think anything of it. And that poem ended up being over in China, ended up being like a #1 selling poem and people loved it so much. And she's like, if she would have judged herself from it, then it never would have gotten all the accolades that it received. And so Nikki just really taught me that you have to trust the art, trust whatever you were doing or saying at the time, and trust that, each article, each piece of your art will find its proper person. And so I was a little embarrassed when I first wrote this letter, but now that it's written and I really did, dived into it, I realized that, it is important to maybe not give head, but it's important for you to be sexually liberated. And if you are doing things that you don't feel comfortable with doing, but you're still doing them anyway, it's a good sign that your sacral chakra may be burnt, may be blocked, or it may be out of balance. And you should really take the work to heal it and to bring yourself in balance, because it's going to help you so that you can feel better and you don't feel like a fraud. Last thing I would just say is that, whether you are, super sexually liberated or you are more modest and prudish, it doesn't matter. I think the key is that you are comfortable with your level of sexuality and that you are in touch with your emotions and your creative expression. And if any of those things are out of place, then I just hope that you will read, the resources and the articles that I have linked below to take those steps to bring your sacral chakra in balance, because you can bring it in balance and it will make a huge difference and improvement in your life. Like I mentioned in the deep dive, when I was in college, I think my sacral chakra was blocked or fucked up or off or, not working. And I could tell it because I didn't have confidence in myself. I was doing things sexually that I really, was second guessing myself about, or I was doing things because I just thought that it was cool. Um, but as an adult, like I feel different in my body. Like I literally walk differently. And I think it's all because the sacral chakra had been healed. I told you in college, I didn't want to live alone. And now I know I'm a grown woman. I'm living alone and I'm happy living alone. And so I just say this to say, if you are, experiencing anything, or, you're not comfortable with how your life is going, you have the ability to change it. And you can change it just by taking small steps, just by doing some affirmation, just by paying attention to it. The other thing I wanted to point out was I'm doing a recap of Harlem season 2. And so Ty was, watching her lesbian couple, and she said that in tech, in order to know the steps, you have to know the end goal. And so if you know your end goal is you want to be more confident, you want to be more in balance with your emotions, but you're not there, these are giving you the steps. I'm telling you the steps to how to get there. So in order to solve a problem, you have to what? You have to identify it. And once you identify it, now you have the steps to bring yourself out of it. All right. So that is the end of this week's episode. I thank you so much for listening to it. Like I told you guys, I was feeling a little apprehensive, but I'm glad that I got it out. And I hope that it helps somebody. I know for sure that I am about to really focus on like supplementing my diet, because I want to have that, I want to have the dream. I really just want to have that dream to see like where my emotions are. Like I want a water dream to come about so I can see how this sacral chakra is functioning. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going on with me. All right, y'all. I am done. If you have made it to the end of this episode, first of all, thank you so much. You didn't have to do this. I appreciate it. If you could, go ahead and like this post, whether you're watching it. If you're watching it on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. If you're on Substack, go ahead, give me a heart. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast device, go ahead and leave me a 5-star review. If you cannot do any of those things, just go ahead and post this to your favorite social media timeline. And remember, if you really love what you hear and you want to help support the movement, for just $5 a day, you can become the alchemist of your life. Come become a member of our Substack or our Patreon, because this year I'm really about to get on my shits. I'm about to start doing TV reviews. I'm about to start going live all the time, and you do not want to miss out, okay? Anyway, until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever, ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Now, I want to thank you so much for helping my dream come true. Now, get out there and work on your own. All right? Meet you at the top, friend.